For those of you who passed UDJ, we also know that the only way to actually pass his class is not to listen to his lectures on life, but to go to his tutorials put on by Michelle. Who doesn't love getting yelled at by a French lady on a Saturday morning? So, Theos knows this, and he's decided to do something about it. He's come all the way down the street from Fontainebleau campus to give a one-night-only lecture, which is going to be on the exam, which is going to be tricky, yes or no, on a very life-applicable statistics regression model. So I think he's ready, but please welcome Theos, the UDJ Pro.
Okay, ready for some statistics? Yes or no? Yes! Good. Okay. Have you ever wondered, just watching these beautiful girls and boys, whether it actually makes you happy? Isn't it the ultimate goal of life to be happy? Does it make you happy just to watch these people? Yes or no? Okay, you can even be happier than that. I mean, how do you achieve happiness? You can study FMV, but that's long-term you're dead. I'm teaching you today how we can actually be happy. Short-term, increase our maximum joy. There's actually a theorem about this. It's called the theorem of UDJ. UDJ. Remember this. UDJ is the let's say that. So what UDJ stands for? Not that. It's the uneven distribution of joy. Do you know that? Let's go through this theorem. Actually, it shows you how to be happy even tonight, how to make yourself even more happier tonight. Let's start with a simple example on the next slide. So what is this? I mean, you should remember from your core course that this is a normal distribution. This is actually a histogram. Do you see the bars here? Thank you. I thought so. So everyone sees the bar. This is actually a normal distribution. Let us assume. Now I have a question for you first. I have a question for you. What do you think this graph represents? Now assume this is your happiness distribution. Let's focus on the more important things, guys. So, assume this is your happiness. This is the distribution of your happiness on a Friday night. You go out on a Friday night. You go out on a Saturday night. You may go out on a Monday night if you agree to settings the next morning, but I didn't say that. Okay? So, imagine this is the average distribution of happiness. Some lucky guys are here. Here. Some other lucky guys are here. But most probably, if I had to guess where your happiness is, you're probably in the middle. My best guess is you're somewhere here. Now, how can you improve that? This is the theory of the uneven distribution of joy. If you understand that, you actually can increase your happiness and get right here. Now let's see another example on the next slide. I hope you recognize the area. It's the method Fontainebleau. It's turned in a way that actually you should be able to realize the normal distribution curve in the map. This is not a coincidence. Assume you are normally distributed on a Friday night in Fontainebleau. Very important. Now a very tricky part is coming up. You are normally distributed. We have to assume normality. Normality before your first beer. After we cannot assume normality normally, but you're MBA students. Okay, so let's skip to the next slide and map this normal distribution on the Fontainebleau Street. Now you see some guys are here, some guys are there, and they're all over the place. Now again, this is a histogram. Can you see the bars here? I don't believe you. Let me show you the next slide, what I think you see. I think this is the bars you see when you see a histogram. Now, there is also another aspect we have to see that, have you ever wondered why French build these stupid streets not rectangularly? There is a hidden concept in that. Have you ever seen a rectangular intersection in Paris? I guess no. They're actually mapping the perfect angle of lambda on all the streets. Let's go to the next slide and see how it actually looks like. Now, as you can see, you can be normally distributed among the town, but your chances of increasing your lambda are not. This is what I call the uneven distribution of joy theorem. Now, some of you might wonder how can we take a map, some intersections, and some normal distribution curve, and how it's all complete up to a statistical model. Now, for the quant of you, I show the next slide, the actual proof. So you might want to copy this for your cheat sheet, but actually if you are very quant, you should have already an insight from this. But the statistical tests in this regression are done after you do the regression, and after you have increased your number. Let me jump to the regression part so that I don't steal more of your time. Let me jump to the next slide. It's amazing, this voice control. You see, just say it, and, I mean, in INSEAD you just click, 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 and it's amazing, isn't it? Okay, I wonder if you have ever seen an ISP output like this. As you can see, the R square, there's no handouts anyway. Let me first outline the three most important aspects. That if you are quant, you should have seen from the previous slide that is actually there are 4 constants in this regression. A few important coefficients that you should learn. This is how you can increase your lambda. The yellow parts outlined here, this part. So if you take that part and go all the way together, you realize that you actually have a very good chance to increase your lambda even to 9. Now how do you do that? So let's see this regression. I have to tell you about the f-test and the p-value. Now this is an important. So p-values, so p-test and f-test, you take obviously after you have increased your lambda. Imagine you're sat in a place, Saturday morning, lambda has just gone up. This is where you have to might want to take the p-test in the next 24 hours. And there is a 0% tolerance, and you want a negative value, believe me. Well, depending on your long-term goals. The f-test is actually a follow-up test. You wake up, lambda has gone up. You want to do that the same thing, the same person again? If your f-test is positive, then you're good. If not, you have to reconsider. You might think about going over on the constant side. Let me talk about the coefficients. Actually, I thought you guys understood this UDJ theorem already because most of you were growing a mustache. I thought you were clever. I thought you figured it out. But it turns out I was just fooled by randomness again. After a few beers I usually am, but anyway. So, let me just emphasize, you have to grow your mustache. As you can see, you have to score a UDJ score over 4. But if you don't do that, you can still have a constant, meaning that HE stands for the hand-eye coordination. If it's still constant, you can stand like this after, let's say, 10 beers. You're cool. Now this is a constant you might consider. Well, I hope this will help you, all this theorem, the UDJ theorem, actually making you learn something useful for your MBA that you can actually use in your life. If you have any questions, you can find me in a very dark part of the theater. I'm happy to answer any questions or demonstrate any issues that you might have. And see you next Monday, and hope you can enjoy the rest of the night. Thank you.